Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. London, 1872. In a perfectly ordered house, a precise gentleman hires a new valet. Phileas Fogg and Jean Passepartout join their destinies without knowing it. At the Reform Club, under lamps and cigar smoke, the talk heats up. They speak of a bank robbery and a daring article about a journey around the world in 80 days. Confident in his calculations, the gentleman makes his wager, £20,000 on the table, and the promise to go and return at the exact time. That same evening, at 8:45 p.m., the great city fades into the fog. A calm master and a wide-eyed valet leave London behind. The adventure begins. But at Scotland Yard, eyes turn to this strangely punctual traveler. He is suspected of being the Bank of England robber. Inspector Fix is sent to follow him. In Suez, on the sun-baked docks, the policeman meets Passepartout. He smiles, gains his trust, and pretends to be a friendly fellow traveler. The steamer Mongolia cuts through the sea toward Bombay. The gentleman stays calm, buried in his timetables, while the world rushes past around them. In Bombay, they arrive 2 days early. On the dock, Fix grows impatient. The arrest warrant still has not arrived. A careless step in a sacred temple brings the priest's anger on Passepartout. In Bombay, the poor valet is arrested for profanation. Later, the rushing train stops suddenly. At the end of the track, nothing. The line is unfinished. 50 miles are still missing. Without losing a second, the gentleman buys an elephant, Kiuni, for a fortune. A Parsi guide joins them, and the small party moves into the jungle. Among the dark trees, they meet a solemn procession. A young Indian woman, Auda, is being led to a cruel sacrifice. The calm traveler cannot stay a spectator. He decides to save the condemned woman, and the small group spends a tense night waiting near the temple. At dawn, Passepartout takes the place of the Raja's body on the pyre. At the last second, he springs up with the young woman in his arms. It is a masterstroke. The escape succeeds. Saved from death, Auda joins their small band, and all embark for Calcutta, united by shared danger. But in Calcutta, local justice catches up with them. A complaint from the priests about the temple profanation brings them before a judge. To protect his companions and his schedule, the gentleman opens his wallet. An enormous bail is paid, and the lost time must now be regained. The group boards their Rangoon, heading for Hong Kong. Fix follows them still, more determined than ever to stop his suspect. At sea, a storm shakes the ship and steals 24 precious hours. While the waves batter the hull, the gentleman stays calm, faithful to his wager. In Hong Kong, the policeman plays his card with the valet. He claims that the traveler is a robber, then gets him drunk so he will miss the next departure. On the dock, the Carnatic leaves without them. The gentleman discovers that Passepartout is gone, and at once charters a small, fast boat to Shanghai. Meanwhile in Shanghai, the exhausted valet barely manages to board a steamer for Yokohama, safe, but separated from his master. Later in Yokohama, the gentleman and Auda search the busy city. In the noise of streets and lanterns, they look for their missing companion. They finally find him under a Japanese circus tent. To survive, the valet has become an acrobat. The reunion is joyful and moving. Reunited, they board the General Grant bound for America. Fix is also on the ship, still hiding in their shadow. The crossing of the Pacific is hard. To keep the pace, the determined traveler forces the captain to drive the ship at full speed. In San Francisco, they finally set foot on land. Almost at once, they are caught in a noisy riot linked to an election. Soon, master and servant board the great transcontinental train. The rails stretch eastward toward New York. On board, they meet Colonel Proctor again, the rough American from the fight in San Francisco. The memory of that clash still hangs between them, heavy like a warning. Suddenly, the train slows. A huge herd of bison crosses the track, and the convoy must wait, delayed once more. Later, the suspension bridge at Medicine Bow seems ready to fall. The engineer makes a wild choice, to cross it at full speed in one rush. The road grows even more dangerous. Sioux warriors attack the train, and gunfire breaks out. Colonel Proctor is among the fighters. In the chaos, Passepartout tries to detach the locomotive to save the passengers. He is captured by the Sioux and vanishes into the plains. Without hesitation, the traveler stops his race around the world. With Fix and 20 soldiers, he sets out to free his servant and friend. After a hard fight, the captive is freed, but the delay is enormous, and the small group with Auda is stranded far from the main line. They cross the frozen plains of Nebraska in a sail sled. The wind drives them at full speed toward Omaha, where they finally board a train to continue their race against time. In New York, another shock awaits them. The steamer for Europe left 45 minutes earlier. The gentleman refuses to give up. He charters a small ship, the Henrietta, despite the captain's refusal to change course. Stubborn will finally wins. The traveler buys the ship for a fortune and pays captain and crew to head for Liverpool. In mid-ocean, the coal runs out. The bunkers are empty. He then makes a radical choice: to burn all the wooden parts to keep the speed. When they reach Queenstown, the Henrietta is little more than a smoking shell, but land is there, and a special train to London is quickly arranged. In Liverpool, the finish line finally seems near. Then Fix receives his warrant and has the traveler arrested at the crucial moment. Thrown into jail, he watches his wager collapse. The clock keeps ticking, and every minute takes him further from success. At last, the truth comes out. The real robber is arrested elsewhere. The innocent man is freed, but he believes the game is lost. Back in London, the small group returns in silence. The deadline seems gone, and the great bet has failed. Ruined, the gentleman withdraws, broken. He thinks of all the dangers faced, of the death he has escaped more than once. In this sadness, Auda finds the courage to speak. She confesses her love and asks him to marry her. The wedding is planned for the next day. While going to find the pastor, Passepartout stumbles upon an astonishing truth. By traveling eastward, they have gained one full day. Overwhelmed, he runs back home and tells his master the secret. By the clock, there are still 10 minutes left to reach the Reform Club. At once, the gentleman rushes out. Through the streets of London, it becomes a breathless race against the clock. Under the surprised eyes of the club members, he crosses the threshold at 8:45 p.m. sharp on December 21st. The wager is won. He has won much more than money. In 80 days, he has found friendship, love, and a new life. The true goal of the journey was the journey itself. Did you like this story? Let us know. Hit that like button, drop a comment below, and be sure to subscribe to Storytime Illustrated so you never miss a classic. Want more epic tales? Click on either video on screen now for your next illustrated story.